Let's cross to Samkele, who's having a media briefing, who's at a media briefing with Julius Malema. Let's go there live.
We are going through a pandemic as a country, and therefore any court that requests us to appear without necessarily a trial is risking our lives and the lives of ordinary people, because you will know that as public figures, when we come here, a lot of people will want to interact with us, and we don't know who's in a good state of health and who's not. So it was irresponsible actually to even ask us to appear. You will know we've got other matters in the Eastern Cape, East London, in Bloemfontein, in Newcastle. All those courts have said, for the purposes of postponement of these cases, it will not be necessary for us to appear, especially now during COVID-19. So I think someone was just irresponsible by inviting us here. Yeah.
Mr. Malema, you've mentioned that you've got a number of court cases which you've got to attend to, Bloemfontein, Newcastle, and then this one. What does this say about the legal cases that you are facing and yourself as a leader when it comes to these issues that are being raised by the courts of law in the country?
I don't think there are many enough. There should be more. So there's absolutely nothing. We are engaged in a revolution. We are engaged in politics. And politics and prison and death are cousins. So there's nothing unto us.
Just as we wouldn't be journalists if we don't ask you this question, Mr. Malema, there are issues plaguing the country. Leaders of the governing party skipped out of the country using one of the jets of the executive by the SANDF with Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula. You as a leader of the opposition, will you be raising some of these questions on how these leaders were able to fly out to Zimbabwe using state resources instead of paying for their own commercial flights out of the country, barring that they violated lockdown regulations as there are no commercial flights leaving the country?
Well, a Zimbabwean issue is a very urgent issue. It requires an urgent attention, and therefore the leadership of the ruling party saw it befitting to go and interact with the Zimbabwean leaders and find a solution, because we want an urgent solution in Zimbabwe, and anything that can help to restore sanity in Zimbabwe will support it as the EFF. But to use the state resources by the leadership of the ANC, I think it was irresponsible, and we shouldn't be too dramatic about it. We will ask the Secretary of Defense to invoice the ANC so the ANC pays and they don't repeat that mistake. But going to Zimbabwe, even under lockdown regulations, it is necessary, it is urgent, and therefore it will be reactionary for anyone to say the leaders should not have gone to Zimbabwe. Remember, as members of parliament, as leaders, we've got permits to be everywhere, and therefore we should not dramatize this thing. Was the need to go to Zimbabwe? Yes, there was a need to go to Zimbabwe. Was the mode of transport used acceptable? No. The ANC should have hired a private jet if there are no commercial flights and pay it itself. But since they flew a government plane, let them pay. Let them get an invoice, let them pay. But the mission to resolve the problem of Zimbabwe should not stop. All of us, including the EFF, we should put pressure to find solution to the problem of Zimbabwe. It's a pandemic on its own, and therefore it needs to be resolved. And to want to over-politicize the issue of Zimbabwe instead of coming up with solutions, it will be irresponsible. Therefore, I don't see anything wrong with leaders of the ANC flying to Zimbabwe. I have a problem with them using a government plane to fly to Zimbabwe. And since that mistake has been committed, let us build them and let them pay. And then let's continue to pursue the mission of finding a lasting solution in Zimbabwe.
What's your view of the president wanting a report by the Minister of Defense, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, knowing that he, as the leader of that party, sanctioned this move by the leadership of the governing party to go to Zimbabwe?
He's acting. I think he must get a role in Movango or something. He's acting. There's nothing. The man said to us he does not have the power to discipline ministers. So he wants a report to do what with it? After getting a report, what is he going to do with it? Because he said he doesn't have a power to discipline ministers when he was asked to discipline Minister Godan. Unless there's rules for Godan and there are rules for others. Since he doesn't have any power to discipline ministers, let him go on with business as usual. The only solution here is that the ANC must pay for the plane, and then we focus on resolving the Zimbabwean problem.
Have you had any engagements with the political formations in Zimbabwe over the impasse and the economic trajectory that country is on?
No, we have not spoken to anyone. We are of a view that Zimbabweans must take a lead themselves, particularly young people from Zimbabwe. We suggested to them they need to blockade the Bedbridge border gate for 2 days. If we can blockade border gate of Zimbabwe for 2 days, there will not be toilet paper in Zimbabwe. And the people of Zimbabwe will see the need to rise against Mnangagwa's failure to lead them properly. But it can't be us. It must be Zimbabweans, and then we will support them. So we cannot take initiative. The Zimbabweans must take initiative, and we will support them. Leave those irresponsible statements by those old people of ZANU-PF. Those statements don't even reach us. We don't take them serious. The day the youth of Zimbabwe, majority of them are here in South Africa, let them go and occupy Bedbridge. And we will ask our comrades in Limpopo and everywhere else to go and support them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malema.
Yes.
Any more questions, guys?
Are you then confident that the young people of Zimbabwe that you're talking about that are the ones that are supposed to take action? Would they be really having allow me to say, the energy to sort of take the baton up?
Well, the Zimbabweans have fought before. They fought successfully against the Ian Smith regime, and they succeeded. And therefore, it will be, irresponsible of me to create a doubt on the Zimbabwean youth. The Zimbabwean youth has demonstrated in the past through Zebra forces and Zanla forces that they can take on any state. The most brutal and murderous regime of Rhodesia, they took it on, and they were led by President Mugabe and others to defeat that murderous regime. They were young, and this youth of Zimbabwe can learn from Zebra and Zanla forces to take up the struggle and ensure that any regime that threatens the human rights and lives of people in Zim is defeated. And that's all what we're asking for. The other issue that I thought I must deal with since I'm here is this issue of the ANC saying the people who are charged of corruption, they must leave their positions. And some journalists were then beginning to ask us, will the EFF emulate that? We won't emulate that. It's an illegal thing. It's unconstitutional. We are told the Constitution of South Africa is the best in the world. But for political expediency, people have now decided to abandon the Constitution and then follow the popular narrative. This is what is going to happen, and you will see it as we go closer. People are going to be charged, and those people will never be tried. The aim will not be to convict anyone. The aim will be to move you out of the way so that your competitors can emerge in the next conference. It's a rule of Praveen. Remember, Praveen controls the prosecuting authority. And anyone opposed to Praveen is going to be charged, not with the hope of securing any conviction, but just to put a dark cloud on top of your head. And then you are off, then they emerge uncontested. Because Praveen Trevor Manuel, Cyril Ramaphosa, and the whole cabal, if it is contested politically by credible, legitimate leadership, it will never emerge. And what they will try to do, it will be to use this rule to get rid of the people who are competing them. It doesn't matter, Samkele, how long the cases may take. Let us respect the rule of law. Innocent until proven guilty. We cannot say for political convenience, you are charged, therefore step aside. For as long as, even in the absence of prima facie evidence, accusation can be made against you by your political opponents. This is a room for manipulation. You know why they don't raise it in the ANC and why they don't challenge it in the ANC? It is because they are corrupt. And when they challenge it, they will be seen to be more corrupt. They are unable to say this is unconstitutional. Because when you say it's unconstitutional, they will say you are defending corruption. We are not going to fight corruption through illegal means and the means outside the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Anything outside the Constitution is a kangaroo court, it's a mob justice, and must never be supported. We defend the Constitution. It doesn't matter. Zuma, for so many years, we said he must have his day in court. It doesn't matter after how many years, he will one day have his day in court, the arm of the law.
Mr. Malema, your statement is very contradictory because you've got a character like Bongani Bongo, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Home Affairs. He's charged. He's facing a criminal case of bribery against the alleged bribery on Advocate Vanara. Are you saying people like Bongani Bongo, people like Zandile Kumete, people like Michael Mabuya Kulu, who's also charged for corruption in KwaZulu-Natal, must remain in positions of leadership within political formations and in government?
Until they are proven guilty.
Let their conscience talk to them. Let them take an individual decision. Let it not be a structural, organizational position. Let their conscience speak to them. They must resign on their own accord. We cannot take illegal decisions because journalists are agitated about it. We are saying you cannot go into a meeting and resolve on an unconstitutional principle. They must be happy that we are no longer in the ANC. I would have taken them to court the second day because it is unconstitutional. Bongo must resign. All of those people who mentioned must resign. How do they resign? They must use their own conscience and step down. No one should come up with some maneuvering, unfounded principles to get rid of them. Let's use their political conscience to take. If they don't have it, then society must take them for who they are. And do we have a recourse? Yes, we do have a recourse. Every 5 years we punish any party that doesn't take decisive decisions on corrupt leaders.
Bongani Bongo is seeking a legal opinion on this issue of stepping aside, which was resolved by the National Executive Committee. Would you advise him to take the ANC to a legal court to seek this issue of them stepping aside, or he must just get his legal opinion and then follow suit with that legal opinion?
Well, the ANC has not said to him he must resign. I don't know what legal opinion is he sorting, but if you were to ask me, I will tell him to resign. Let him use his conscience, especially if you bribed Samkele. Your conscience, how must talk to you, and then urno movangerile, and then step down. Abasana letswalo, and then lena letsamalinka unconstitutional decisions for people who don't have conscience. Let's leave them for who they are. Have they been found guilty? No. Does their conscience tell them to resign? If the conscience says no, because they know that they never bribed anyone, then they can remain in positions of power. But if their conscience tells them, I might have made mistakes, and therefore let me step aside to give this process an opportunity to clear my name.
But here's the EFF removed the members of parliament who had taken monies from the CR17 fund. Why shouldn't the ANC take action against those who are perceived to be corrupt?
No, they confessed. The people, you see, that another thing, you are comparing apples with bananas, you see. Those ones confessed. Has Bongo confessed? No. So the comparison is non-existent. Try something else. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that was the EFF leader, Julius Malema, there, saying that the ANC took an unconstitutional decision when it came to the issues of their members of parliament and leaders in various structures of government who have been found to be criminally charged for any wrongdoing. He also speaks on various issues, that the issue of the ANC leaders like Ace Magashule, Tony Yengeni, Lindiwe Zulu, Minister Nosivio Mapisa Ngakula, Bongani Bongo, who used that SANDF a jet to go to Zimbabwe. The issue must not be dramatized. The ANC took a good decision in going to Zimbabwe to address the issues that are facing Zimbabwe, such as the social injustices that are happening within that country and the economic implosion that's there within that country. Malema saying that simply they're going to ask the Secretary of Defense to simply invoice Luthuli House, and they must pay for that trip to Zimbabwe, which was very important, Julius Malema says. And he appears back here in the magistrates, in the Randburg Magistrates Court for the trial of his assault case with Mbuyiseni Ndlozi over that issue, over the funeral of Mama Winnie Madikizela-Mandela at the Fourways Memorial. That will be on the 13th of October this year. But the key points coming out here is that the ANC should be invoiced on their trip using government resources to Zimbabwe, and they must just simply pay.
Samkele, thank you so much.